Have you ever gone to bid a cabling job and ended up helping the client carry things in? Is this a first for you, Marv?
Absolutely a first for me. I just came here to do a quote.
I came here to do a quote, and somehow we find ourselves helping the guy pull everything in. That's life. That's important to us.
The services we offer.
Services we offer. So, me and Marvin are here today bidding jobs. Mm-hmm. I came with my little stool. I wander around the office when I wanted to sit next to my employees.
He just wanders with his little stool. Let's talk.
Let's talk. I don't like to stand over people. That actually, I don't know if it does bother some people. I don't think this guy's bothered by it. He's got a pretty high tolerance for BS, and he puts up with it. But we're here for a more serious talk because everyone always asks, how do you build stuff? Marvin wrote a script.
Bid stuff.
Bid.
Well, yeah. Well, how do we build? How do we bid, too?
How do you bid it, then build it?
Right.
So I thought this was a script. I actually, we legit are a real company. I'm just sometimes impressed with how organized my staff is occasionally. I'm like...
That's why I hired us.
This is usually just in my head. But let's get back to the nitty-gritty of it. So first, we had a client we met with, and this actually comes from... So for those of you who watched, it would have been Vlog Thursday, not the last episode, episode before.
Yeah, episode 6?
Yeah, episode...
I think? Or...
No, that's like 56. You're thinking of Off Topic.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Vlog Thursday.
Vlog Thursday. So if you would have watched that video, you would have seen our shtick, as we called it, in the Chamber of Commerce, and we said we think we closed some deals out. So that client meeting that we had and off the cuff at the Chamber of Commerce has led to this. They need it's a new build out, new building. We did a walkthrough, and I can probably drop a photo here of the whole building that we're bidding on. But this is kind of a talk of how we do the bids and how we put it together. Because this is something that people get hung up on. Especially if you're starting a business, this is really hard, and it becomes more fluid doing the bids as you get better at it, because it does there. So it didn't take me long to train Marvin on how we do our bids from a sales standpoint.
But when you get to these, this is a big job. When you get to these bigger jobs, we kind of have to go over everything to make sure we didn't miss anything, that we're using the right equipment and all that stuff for these larger jobs.
So we have a good idea of what the client wants. They needed 30 cameras. They needed a lot of drops, a lot of TVs mounted. So this is all an infrastructure build. So specifically the type of job this is, Wi-Fi and infrastructure build-out job. And it's kind of... Once you kind of understand how long it takes you to do something, that's kind of how you can just put it together. So honestly, TVs we mount fast. So we just, for every TV they want mounted, it's 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour for each TV. It's really simple. So you got to have some understanding of how fast you can get something done, and then you can put it in there as a bid. We do prefer to charge a flat rate. So that flat rate, though, is based on how much you pay your staff per hour, and that way you can calculate that part of it. Mm-hmm. Then you got to calculate in there a markup, and subjectively you may want a 20-25% markup. I mean, that's going to vary with opinions and things like that, but that's pretty reasonable on the hardware. Now, what we do for the client, because we don't, they don't need every line item detail. That generally is actually more information than they need, and
probably more than they want.
Definitely more than they want. And what that means is we give them a per camera installed price. So we price out the NVR for them, and then we give them a per camera installed price. That's going to be the wiring, the pointing, the mounting, everything. So once you kind of understand, and we've done so many of these, we know how long it takes to install a camera, we give them a price. That way the guy starts with, I think I need 30. And we're like, okay, that's fine. That seems reasonable for the place he's putting in. If you need more, here's the per camera price. If you need less, there you can deduct the per camera price. We know this may vary plus or minus 5 cameras by the time the project comes there. But this way we give them the tools to recalculate the price without overthinking the whole thing. Now we also made sure, when this is in the bid as well, this is 30 cameras, so we have a 48-port PoE switch. That means we did tell him there is a point at which, if he does go over 48 cameras, that has to do that. And this comes back and forth. We do a little bit of talking with the client and a little bit of how we put the bids together. And then I come over here and sit down and decide we should record it of why we have 2 of us going over it occasionally. Because sometimes you double add an Excel spreadsheet together.
Sometimes you copy and paste and then look at the grand total and go, holy cow!
This bid seems really good. It turned out he doubled it.
Yeah.
But he was auditing, he figured it out, and it's like that. And kind of what we do though, and it's nice to have someone. I have a much more technical background, and Marv has more of a sales background. But kind of between us, either me or one of the other technicians, just kind of review the sales bid to make sure it's feasible and that it's there. And things like, okay, we know there's a 48 port switch and there's 30 cameras that need power, so we're good up until 48 cameras, things like that. And make sure that we always just choose, because the price difference is so small. We generally go with the higher wattage switches, because why not? The price difference is only like 150 more, I think it was.
If that even.
If that. It was so minor with the Unify ones. Just go with the higher wattage switch and don't worry about it. But, it's kind of getting the scope of work correct and making sure it's on there, but then giving them enough detail so if they have to make small adjustments, you're not chasing paper all the time and readjusting. How much is it for one more camera? Or how much is it to have one more drop? So we have our per drop based on the type of drop. So we have like all the drops that go for all their data lines broke down to pricing. Here's our drop price on that. And away you go. This gives the client enough that they can make little adjustments to the final and still understand the bid, but not giving it. And we've seen a lot of IT guys do this. They come up with these 4-page bids for a job like this. They have every little thing, like, hey, the jack, the mud plate. They try to measure how much cable they're going to use in detail. And I'm like, really? Just come up with if we look at the building and you know centrally where they're going to put it, and you know about where they're going to put them, even if they move a little bit, you can guesstimate the cable and go, okay, the average run will be this far. And when you know that, you don't have to do this whole cable figuring out thing. You can come up with a flat rate. The cabling is not cheap, but it's not the most expensive. Labor is still always the most expensive on all these jobs. I mean, the cameras do have a lot of cost to them, and the NVR server itself has a cost to it. But a lot of this is some of the labor that goes into climbing up, and this place is going to require a man lift. It's a 35, 40-foot ceiling.
Oh, 40-foot ceilings, easily.
Yeah, 40 or 50-foot ceilings.
They have that one scape that he said is 3 stories.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's at least 3 stories tall.
At least 3 stories tall. So because the building we already know that's going to be in there, that's definitely a factor of doing this. So this is a little bit of insight into how we do the bids. It's not like a too in-depth process. And then what we're going to do, the final follow-up, so we meet the guy at the chamber. He says, hey, I want to do this thing. So we went and met with him at his office. And then after we met with him at his office, or the new building, not even office. The office ain't even built yet. This is a raw building.
Yeah, there were still trenches in the floor where electric and stuff is going to be run.
Yeah, so not all that's done. So then from there, we're going to get him the camera quote. And the other quotes that go with this, like for installing the Wi-Fi, we'll present it to him, have a talk with him, say, is there any questions you have about this? And then we'll have a few touch points where we follow it up. Now, we already are aware that this was bid by at least one other company previously. We aren't privy to that information right now. I like when they do share it, but you can't ever be that lucky. It's a game of poker. And the guy likes that we're local versus the other company, so we have that advantage. We hope our prices are within the range of theirs. But this is something else too, especially if you're starting out. Don't sell yourself short. I mean, you go back and forth. You're like this. I know I could cut here, cut here, cut here. I could do it for less money. But if you do that, you also don't want to do mentally. It gets in the back of your head. If you do things for really cheap, you don't want to do a good job. You're like, yeah, but I gave it to you for a deal. Start feeling bad about it. And that's one of the things I try to tell people, especially starting out. They all the time feel, I'm going to start a computer company. I'm just going to do it for half of what my competitor does. And I'm like, okay.
You have to get paid what you're worth.
That's
just it. And you can have better prices or whatever, but you also get known as the cheap computer guy. Yep. And if you get to a point where then it's like, well, I need this done right, so I'm not going to call the cheap computer guy. I'm going to call the guy that does it right. And so I think Tom agrees, and we would much rather be the company that does it right, than the ones that are the best price.
Yeah, and
if we can be both, great.
Yeah, but our prices are competitive, and when you come up with your prices for what you're charging per drop when it comes to network wiring and cabling and things like that, when you're bidding some of those, it's a important aspect to think about that you're within market price. So you got to kind of know what your market price is. And I was actually told we're doing work from school, and it's funny because the newer IT people at the school think our price is very reasonable because where he used to live out of state, they charge more per drop. But we actually know our rate is a little bit higher than a couple other guys in the area. And we were told that by a few people, like, our rate's a little higher, but they really like our work and are real happy with us, but they just wanted to let us know. And I said, thank you. And they said, well, you match. I said, no. I knew where they were going with it.
Yeah.
And, we didn't match price, but I don't think we're only, I think we're 15% higher than one of our competitors. So we're not to me that's within reason, and for the quality of work that we give, I don't feel as our 15% higher, because I've seen the quality of work and kind of half-assedness that they do is the only way I can describe. It's not as neat and clean as our work. That's an important thing we really push on there, and that's also why we showcase when we have some of our project files and videos on there at Project Showcase. And I got to do more of them. I've been busy and haven't focused a lot on that aspect of it because I don't always get time to go out to the job sites because I'm actually not the one pulling the cable. Corey is. I do have another one that's sitting on my desk. I'm hoping to get published today. But this is a really important aspect, of course. This is like one of the number one questions, I guess. How do you bid the jobs? And people are looking for this automatic secret sauce to it. And literally, I got a Google Docs spreadsheet pulled up here that we put things in. We have really easy templates for that. There's not anything about them that's special.
A couple of formulas in it is all it is.
Yeah, a couple of
this
formulas.
Column plus that column times that column. And
yeah, quantities on there and prices, and that's going to be related there. And I've talked about before, it's almost, we kind of type these in freeform. So you look at some of the bid stuff that we do, it's really simplistic. And that's not on accident. I went and showed someone. I said, "Here's a bid for, I think it was for $29,000, and it fits on a single page."
Yeah.
And people are like, "You can't get a job with that." I'm like, "That job's already paid. What are you talking about?" Like,
yeah,
I'm not joking. Like, this is how it works with us, and the clients seem to appreciate the simplicity. If they need to know how many mud rings we use and start nickel and diamonds, they're probably not a client I want because they're going to drive me nuts. Going, I want to know the exact brand of cable that's going. You know, some of those people, once they start doing that, and then what they're doing is they just want to throw it all in Google and price it out. They try to nitpick it apart and charge you like that. I'm like, whatever. That can be a pain. But I've been wrong about clients. We had a client that nitpicked like that one hospital we did. Oh, their IT guy was they paid us very well. And we were happy, but he was very picky about, he scoped out their scope of work, had specific brands he wanted us to use, and they actually ended up just buying the product and having us do the labor, which I was fine with, because then I didn't have to think about it. Yeah. We just used all the product they wanted. The job turned out nice, and I went in very skeptical, but I stuck to the guns on this is how much my guys get, so to speak. This is the labor charge. Yeah. So we are flexible and things like that, but for the most part, the majority of businesses go, look, I don't know about this wiring stuff. This is what you guys do. Tell me how much it is. I'm going to need Wi-Fi coverage for the building. I need 30 cameras at these angles covered. Boom. Give me a price and break it out price per camera. They don't need to know every little doodad that went into that camera. They don't honestly care. As a business owner myself, I mean, the plow guy comes in and wants to tell me every little detail. Thank you, dude, but just tell me how much I owe you for plowing a parking lot. I know it probably you're justifying why you're here, but I think your price is reasonable. Have a wonderful day. Here's your money. Yeah. I really got other things.
Don't need to know how many pounds of salt you dumped.
Yeah, I mean the bill was like $212 last month. I mean, that's fine. That's great. I paid it. So
great. It was worth it to not slip and fall in the parking lot.
Pretty much.
Thanks so much.
That was salting and everything, and there was probably some more details I missed, but I'm happy. The parking lot's cleared, and I paid the money. And
how much tire tread was used, and
yeah, and some people go overboard with that. I mean, there are those clients that want it, but I find my best clients are often the ones that you keep it very concise, you be very clear, you keep it very honest, but they don't need every tiny little detail to make these projects work. So hopefully this is helpful in understanding the bid process. I know everyone's looking for the secret or the formula, or I just plug in the numbers to this magical thing and it just kicks out the sale and the client signs it and I do the job. It's really not. There is other complexities. The secret is a little bit complex. It is kind of there's going to be some follow-up calls with the client, trying to make sure we win him over if he's got questions about it. Now, this is also where our video marketing comes in. The question goes, well, okay, you sent this, but what about that camera system? No problem. I got a video ready and we fire it off to you. I actually, because we have the cameras installed, at our office, one of the clients wanted to come and see it for himself. So he come and stood in the lobby, recorded himself on camera, walked over to the other side of the counter and watched himself on camera and listened and seen it. And he goes, all right, I'm sold. That looks great. Yeah. And then we installed, that was the guy for the landscaping place.
Yeah.
He's seen it.
Right?
Yeah, right down the street. Yeah. They seen it. They were sold on it. We could prove it. We have videos, demos that we've sent to people, of like basically how to use the Unify software. It helps on the training, but it's also a good pre-sale tool because they see how nice the software is on these Unifys, and they go, okay, I like that. Now, Unify's not the only thing we sell, and this bid's actually going to get more complicated very quickly because he wants a other camera system bid on here as well. So we also.
Well, he might.
He might.
Once he sees this bid and we tell him that this is the cheaper version,
yes,
he may decide that.
Because he was one of the challenges with this bid is 30 30 days of storage with 1080 cameras, 30 cameras, no problem. When you go to 4K, you are quadruple the resolution and therefore quadruple just about the storage. You need a lot more storage to store a high-end 4K, is even to looking at some of the other cameras. And I think it's because he sees the buzzwords and things. That's cool. We can do those, and we have schools and places that are using super high-res cameras. No problem. They do cost a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the camera prices by themselves are more than our installed camera price.
I was going to say that mistaken double price may have been the right price if he wants to go 4K.
So this is kind of behind the scenes. This is what I'm not making videos, even though I'm making a video doing this. Well,
Two
technically,
birds, one stone.
Two birds, one stone, and we're actually kind of wrapping up the bid here. You know,
Yeah.
we looked at it, we go here, we go here. Marvin wanted to confirm a couple things, and I'm like, hey, let me grab the camera and go over this. And it's like I said, when you see how short the bids are, it's just way easier. That's the goal a lot of times, I think, is making sure it's concise and readable so they understand what they're buying from you. Don't ever convolute your product offerings. Trust me, as business owners, we don't like that. We don't want, just tell me what you do, tell me how much it is to get it done and how it will benefit me. Boom, let's make this happen. So, like I said, hopefully this helps. If you'd like to kind of hear, like, and subscribe, you got questions, leave in the comments below. I'll do my best to reply to all of you. And if you need a system bid, let us know. We do this.
We'll do this for you.
We'll do this for
Look
you.
at
If you happen to be a customer watching or a potential customer, this is something we do.
All the care that will go into it will be all for you.
Tom will sit here on his little spinny stool.
Yeah, you'll know. Right?
And,
look at that.
look at this.
This is Tom's happy the bid is done dance
The bid
right
is
here.
done. Because I want to go back to making videos, and I love doing the work. This is the part that I won't lie. This is drudgery for a little bit for me. This is one of the reasons we have a Marvin here. Marvin's handling it well, though.
I can't juggle. See ya.